Birds 365 here on the JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. We got McMullen McDonald, and there he is. We got another mobile guest checking in from the car. Our bud Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press. Sunny down there in Florida? Is that what you're telling me? Hey, we got overcast skies here in Philadelphia. How sunny is it down there, Maaddi?
It's sunny, but we go through all 4 seasons in one day. So when you wake up winter, and about as soon as I get out of the gym, it'll be spring and then summer later on this afternoon.
Nice. Like it. Fast forward through everything. Am I going to see you this weekend, Rob? I assume you're going to be there, correct?
Yeah, I'll be there Sunday, even though Jason Kelsey told me to stay away a couple more weeks since they've been doing so well without me covering the team. But I just couldn't resist. It's the NFC Championship game. I haven't missed one at the Link, so I gotta be there for that.
Understandably so. Eagles come in off the massive blowout of the Giants. 49ers hard-fought win over the Cowboys this past week. But then you take the step back and you look at both seasons. The Eagles had the better record. That's why the game's going to be at Lincoln Financial Field. But how similar were the accomplishments of those two teams over the course of 17 games plus now the playoffs?
It's a very exciting matchup. I look at this as 2 old school football teams, guys. I think that you got tough physical defenses, top 2 defenses. They can run the football. So it's got a little bit of that John Madden flair, that 80s, 90s football, where you get excited about. You can play this game in 2 hours and 50 minutes if they want to ground and pound and run the ball and with the defenses. However, you sprinkle in some playmakers, and quite a bit of playmakers on both teams. On the Eagles, the skill position guys, whether it's Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. You go over to the Niners, McCaffrey, Debo, George Kittle. There's a lot of playmakers on this. So it's not quite that old school football where you're just going to be running the ball. They're so evenly matched, and I think this is why you play the entire season to get that number 1 seed, because the biggest advantage the Eagles have this week is one at quarterback in someone who's tested, proven, been through these type of experiences, and also that 70,000 plus screaming fans at the Link who may finally make Brock Purdy feel like a rookie 3rd-string quarterback who is the last pick in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, that's the story. Jody believes in Brock Purdy more than I do, Rob. Where are you on the Brock Purdy scale? I give Kyle Shanahan a ton of credit, but I'll also say, guess what? You know, Jimmy Garoppolo, who's a veteran quarterback, hasn't been able to put up the numbers of somebody like Brock Purdy. Now, we had Marcus Hayes on, Rob, and he made a good point that, well, he never really had Christian McCaffrey for a long period of time, so his addition has meant a lot, to say the least, for San Francisco. But where are you on the Brock Purdy scale as far as belief, disbelief?
7-0, 16-3 is pretty impressive. I think Kyle Shanahan should get a ton of that credit for helping develop Brock Purdy from where he was into what he is right now. But I got to see more out of Brock Purdy to be a believer and to feel like he's the answer for the San Francisco 49ers going forward, especially with the number of assets they traded for Trey Lance. Can he come into the Link, play well, continue to do what he's done? Yeah, he can do that. He's got a lot of poise. It doesn't seem like he is deterred under pressure, but I don't think he's seen a pass rush quite like the Eagles. This is a team and a defense that can really eat you alive. So this is going to be a tough test for Brock Purdy. Whether he fails or he succeeds, I don't think it is going to determine his long-term future. I think he's got some skill sets. He's a guy who is fitting nicely into an offense that is run by a guy who is innovative and creative like Kyle Shanahan. I don't know that Brock Purdy would be having this kind of success if you threw him into another situation anywhere else in the NFL right now. So you got to give him his credit, but also he's got a tough challenge, the toughest that he's faced all year, coming up on Sunday. And I think that's going to say a lot about who he is and what he can do this early in his career, 8th start in the NFL.
Rob, John mentioned this yesterday, and you were probably at one of these sessions as well, that Shane Steichen has said, hey, if you can't effing stop it, I'm not going to effing stop calling it. That's Shane Steichen's very well advised way of looking at things in the NFL. And this past week against the Giants, he said, "You're not going to stop the run. Guess what? We're going to continue running right down your throat to the tune of 268 yards." What's the chance that the 49ers use that same philosophy and say, "We're just going to try and run it down the Eagles' throats"? Brock Purdy is Brock Purdy. He is still a rookie. The Eagles are the number one pass defense in the National Football League. They're in the bottom half of the league against the run. And you've got a guy named Christian McCaffrey in your backfield. Is there a chance the 49ers just come in here and say, "Oh, we're going to run the football, and if you stop us, you're going to win the game, but we don't think you can stop us. We're going to try and run it down your throats all afternoon"? How big a chance is that of happening?
Jody, more than a chance, I think that's got to be their game plan. You can't look at this Eagles defense and try and figure out a way to attack them other than doing that by trying to run the football at them. Now, it's not necessarily running the ball down their throats, although you can run in the middle. But the way Shanahan designs and schemes, and you got Debo getting some carries, and you got jet sweeps, and you got these exotic runs, whatever he wants to do, running the football is what the 49ers need to do and need to do effectively. I think all coaches, Jody, should follow the Shane Steichen philosophy. If you ain't effing stopping us, why not continue to do it? Like, there's too often we see teams, hey, they'll run the ball on first and second, they'll get 8 yards, and then all of a sudden they just go away from it, and they continue to do or try different things. If another team, if you are imposing your will on another team, if your offensive line is dominating like the Eagles were doing to the Giants, like the Eagles have done throughout the season, that O-line, you continue to do it, because sometimes a team just can't stop you. They're not going to be able to figure out a way to stop you. They're not capable of it. They don't have the players, the talent level, the strengths are not there to stop you. So I think from both sides of the ball, you got to do what works for you, continue to do it. Who cares about style points? It's all about getting the W, getting to that Super Bowl. So I would expect, but here's the thing. With the 49ers, you can run the ball, they can continue to run the ball, and then you got a guy like George Kittle over the middle. You got a guy like Debo who can stretch the field. Like, they have some weapons that you can't focus 100% or 95% on stopping McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell in the run game, because they can beat you other ways.
Yeah. And this is the first time the Eagles kind of get a taste of their own medicine, because it's so difficult to deal with the Eagles, because if you, hey, go shut down AJ, Devonta's there, Dallas is there. If you want to really focus on umbrella coverage as a whole, they can just run the football. And plus they have the +1 in Jalen Hurts. I want to talk about the coaches, Rob, because we all know, I mean, you and I have been around this league for a long time. Kyle Shanahan is so well regarded. If he's not the best play schemer, play caller, he's number 2 to Andy Reid. He's in that rarefied air. But guess what? You know, he has a lot of problems, just like Andy back in the day, with time management. I think those play callers get bogged down. He was getting criticized for the way he handled the end of the first half against Dallas. Time coming off the clock. He's thinking about play calls. And all of a sudden, they convert a third down. They're able to get I think it was a 50-yard field goal from Robbie Gould, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good the way he handled it. And that's been sort of consistent throughout his career. The best thing I think Nick Sirianni did as a young coach was saying, you know, this is a big job. Maybe I'll take a step back and oversee the team, hand it off to play calling. When you look at that dynamic, how do you look at it as far as coaching goes?
I think it shows a tremendous lack of ego from Nick Sirianni to be able to do that as a former offensive coordinator, because we know how much these coaches who are offensive minded take ownership of calling those plays. Like, yeah. It's what they do. It's what they were born to do. And for Sirianni to peel back and do that, I think has worked out effectively for the Eagles. And then on the other flip side, yeah, Kyle Shanahan's had all that success. You point to those issues. I'll remind everybody of the 28-3 Super Bowl league.
Yeah,
he was the offensive coordinator where he didn't call the right plays to be able to protect a 25-point freaking lead in the second, 11 minutes left or 15, whatever the heck it was, against the Patriots. So that's a big blow up right there. He screwed that up big time. So you give Shanahan the edge and experience here. He's been there. He's been through these games. He's been to a Super Bowl, hasn't won it, but he's been there. But I'm not gonna shortchange Nick Sirianni at all. Like the way he's coaching right now, it seems like he's got a feel for everything. You're seeing guys run. They're scheming guys wide open. They're not just Jalen Hurts. I don't want to take any. Sometimes if you say this, people take it as criticism of the quarterback. Like, oh, you're saying anybody could do that. No, but his job is made easier because the line is protecting so well. And the scheme is such that you got A.J. Brown sometimes running wide open by 6, 7, 8 yards. You got Dallas Goedert wide open by 4, 5, 6 yards. That's on coaching. Yeah, the guy's got to run the routes precisely. They got to have the skill to be able to do that. But I don't want to take anything away from what Nick Sirianni's been able to do as a play caller, as a offensive system scheme designer. Everything that he's been doing is right there with Kyle Shanahan. And I think this week, it's going to come down. Coaching matters. Coaching, special teams is every little detail is going to matter. And we'll see if Nick can out coach. We saw Doug Peterson do this to Sean McVay when he was the boy wonder. Let's see if Nick can do it to Kyle Shanahan.
All right. So I want to take the head coach out of it partially. Play caller against play caller. Offense against defense. Shanahan against Gannon. Who's got the matchup edge going in?
Jonathan Gannon gets far more respect, guys, right, nationally than he does locally. And we saw what Nick said the other night about Jonathan Gannon. The Eagles' defense has been solid, strong, stingy, nasty. They got some players. The only area where I'd be concerned about San Francisco attacking it would be over the middle, right? There's some susceptibility there, attacking them over the middle with Kittle and what they can do. This one's going to be a classic chess match. If I had to give a slight edge, I would give a slight to Kyle Shanahan right now. But I think Jonathan Gannon's got a little bit of something to prove. I think Jonathan Gannon's defensive line and the ability to get to the quarterback and wreck things for Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan's going to show up big time in this game.
Typically, when the Eagles play and Lane Johnson is on the field, you don't have to worry about the right side of the offensive line. A little bit different for a couple reasons this week. One, you got the Defensive Player of the Year on the other side, Nick Bosa, and Lane is playing through a torn groin muscle. And he was able to hold up very well against the New York Giants, who have some talent, but it's young talent that probably aren't ready to deal with somebody with the savviness of Lane Johnson. Nick Bosa is the best pass rusher in football. Ever since he got to San Francisco, I maintain that's when that team became a Super Bowl contender, Rob, because nobody can block the guy. And their one bad year is when he got hurt. When he's been on the field, he's sort of like their Lane Johnson. We always talk about that win-loss record when Lane's on the field, when Lane's off the field. Nick Bosa's their Lane Johnson. When he's on the field, they win. When he's off the field, they struggle. Is that one of the best matchups we're going to see on Sunday?
I think that's probably one of the best matchups we might see, John, throughout the playoffs when you look at any one-on-one particular matchup. It's too bad that Lane Johnson isn't 100%. I wish I could see him at 100% going at Nick Bosa. He's so tough that he's going to go out there, and we saw that he was able to do it against the Giants. This is a different level. You're going up against a guy who's an all-pro, a guy who's a leading defensive player of the year candidate in Nick Bosa. But I think the X factor here for the Eagles is that they have Jalen Hurts. and Jalen Hurts' escapability. Jalen Hurts can create plays, can buy time, and if Nick Bosa, he's going to win a couple battles with Lane Johnson. That's the thing. You know, we ask offensive linemen, if a guy gets 1 or 2 sacks, he had a great game. But then what happened the other 69, 70 plays?
Yeah. But Lane hasn't given up a sack in well over a year. It's unbelievable. I mean, he does win 70 of 70 typically. I don't think that's going to happen, though.
Yeah, that's a mind blowing. Just to think about that. Yeah. Over a year that Lane hasn't given up a sack. Like I'm excited to watch. You know, I came on and I said it's old school football, the kind that John Madden would love. Man, he would love that matchup, Nick Bosa, Lane Johnson.
If, let's say, Lane is laning out in the first half and Bosa's getting nowhere fast, you think Shanahan moves him or D'Amico Ryans moves him along the line? It's no picnic on the other side against Jordan Mailata either. But if Bosa's kind of shut out in the first half, you think they'll do some moving along that defensive line?
D'Amico's got to do what he's got to do to win a football game. I would move him anywhere I needed to. I would line him up any particular way that gives you an advantage. You got to do it. Like this is win or go home. This is win or, you know, you're done. Season's over. So I certainly think D'Amico may have a few wrinkles up his sleeve. And obviously he could be coaching in his last couple games with the 49ers. He's such a hot candidate for a head coaching job. Anything is possible in this one, Jody. I think that might be the smart thing to do and not even wait, to mix it up a little bit and do it early.
Yeah. The offensive line as a whole, Rob, I was thinking about this because, you know, we saw over a 7-day span, Dexter Lawrence completely wreck a football game against Minnesota. And then I didn't even know he was on the field against Philadelphia. I really didn't. I mean, and that is a great player, second team All-Pro. Great player. Jason Kelce, Landon Dickerson, Isaac Seumalo, along with Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, who we were talking about. Boy, I saw somebody say this is the best offensive line since, you know, Emmitt Smith and the Cowboys. It might be. This is the best offensive line I've ever seen. And you know, that surprises me because Brandon Brooks was here and you had Jason Peters, but I think Jason was sort of slipping when Brandon Brooks was at the top of his game. Is this the best offensive line you've seen in your time covering the NFL?
Oh, John, for sure. It reminds me of those Cowboys line. It reminds me of the Hogs. Remember the Hogs? How they were.
Yeah.
This is, you know, I was trying to see whether or not some MVP voters would take a look at the Eagles offensive line. And I had one guy who's not a voter tell me Jason Kelce's worth a top 5 pick. And this is how good they are, that you can say that and you're not going to be left out of the building, right? Oh, offensive lineman for top 5 and an MVP. That's how good they are. That's how dominant they've been. And it speaks to Jeff Stoutland and what he's been able to do to develop these younger guys and to be able to help them reach this point. Like what the Eagles did with Jordan Mailata is unprecedented. I think to get a guy like that in the 7th round who's never played football, have him at left tackle and have him be, whether he's Pro Bowl alternate or whatever he's right there in the mix, one of the top guys. And it just really speaks to Stoutland's ability as an assistant coach, as an offensive line guru, and these guys and their talent and their ability to see what Jason Kelce is doing still at a high level, an All-Pro for the 5th time. I think he just wrote his Hall of Fame ticket this year. I think Jason Kelce has solidified his case for Hall of Fame based on this past season. And I don't know how long he's going to continue playing. I don't know if he is going to continue playing, but I don't think he even needs to. And if the Eagles were to go on and win a Super Bowl where you had a dominant offensive line, he's got 2 rings, he's got 5 All-Pro, first-team All-Pro, on his resume. I think that makes him a Hall of Famer. And you know what? Lane Johnson isn't that far behind. Lane Johnson is still building his resume. He's that kind of player. We all said that about Jason Peters, who, by the way, I saw Jason Peters have a heck of a first half, albeit against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football in a wild card game before he got hurt again. Because
shockingly, whoa! Jason Peters got hurt. What? Did you just say that out loud? Shocking that Jason Peters got hurt at this stage. All right, no, hold it, Maaddi. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. And I wasn't going to ask you this question because I think it's unfair. But then I remembered you dropped Jason Kelce's name right at the start of this interview. Make the call. Jason Kelce, Eagles Center 2023. Yay or nay?
Hall of Fame?
No,
Philadelphia
is he coming
Eagles
back?
Starting center 2023.
Oh, is he coming back? Oh, man. Not if they win. I think he rides off into the sunset.
Into the sunset is what you're telling us?
That would be a great way to go out. I kind of hope he does.
I don't think he pulls a Tom Brady. I think he's gone.
Yeah. Well, I want at Rob Maaddi, by the way, follow Rob on Twitter. Does a tremendous job for the Associated Press. I should have all pro vote, Rob. I'm going to lobby you for that. But I want to talk about the AFC because, I mean, what a matchup again. Patrick Mahomes versus Joe Burrow. But, boy, high ankle sprain. Now, you suffer a high ankle sprain in a game, sort of like Jalen Hurts out in Chicago with the sprained SC joint. The adrenaline's going, you're warmed up, and then you get to the day after, and it's like, oh, I'm hurt. It's going to take some time. High ankle sprains are usually 4 to 6 week injury. There's kind of no doubt, it seems, that Patrick Mahomes is going to play. Is he going to be even close to the normal Patrick Mahomes?
There's no way, guys, that he's going to be out there and not be in any way impacted. I don't know what a percentage you're going to put on him, whether he's 50, 60, say he's going to play. He's going to do what he can for his team. But like you said, high ankle sprains are normally 4 to 6, whether it's even if it's a 3 to 4, even if it's a 2 to 3, he's playing 8 days later. Playing 8 days later, he's going to feel it. It's going to limit his mobility. We saw what he was able to do against Jacksonville, and he's throwing passes on one foot off the other. He's doing whatever he can to have Chris Collinsworth. Gosh, please tell me Collinsworth's not doing this game this weekend. Yeah.
Whoa. Time out. I'm going to defend Collinsworth. Collinsworth's worse than Romo? Romo never shuts up. Oh, my God. He just keeps talking and talking and talking. Yeah. Poor Al Michaels, because he doesn't talk enough, gets killed. And then Romo gets killed this week because he talks too much. Yeah, they don't pay those guys enough for the kind of criticism they take as the.
By the way, Greg Olsen is great. I saw somebody.
Greg Olsen's very good.
Olsen
yes,
is great. I want to get it.
I'll tell you what. When Chris Collinsworth, my wife doesn't pay attention to football, but when she hears his voice, she asks me to mute the TV. I don't know. It's just something about maybe the way he's gushing over everybody. That said, Patrick Mahomes is superhuman. He's going to be out there. He's going to play. He's going to do things that are going to make you go, I can't believe he did that. I can't believe he did this. Whatever it is, I think he's going to be limited a little bit. And it's reasonable to think that.
And I think it's reflected in the fact that the Chiefs are only a 1-point favorite at home. They're already factoring in the Patrick Mahomes, while being very good, might not be Patrick Mahomes. All right, put you on the spot again, Maaddi man, because that's your gig now, Mr. Lead NFL writer. Eagles 2 coordinators. Both back? One back? Neither back? How pilfered are the Eagles going to be this offseason on their offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, head coach positions?
I think they're both going to be back. They're getting the opportunities. They're getting the interviews, and no team has made a hire yet. But when you look around and see the names and see the list and see how the league is pushing in certain areas, I wonder how that's going to have an impact on Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon. And I feel like there's a really good chance that they are both back with the Eagles next year.
Yeah. There's only 5 openings, Rob.
Yep.
That's
Not a
rare.
ton.
You think Jerry changes course, and maybe you think there's any additions? Sean McVay, I'm a little surprised he came back. That I thought he was leaving, but Sean McVay's coming back. Any surprises, late surprises with guys in the playoffs getting fired? To me, Brandon Staley would have been one, but the Chargers are bringing him back. McCarthy's the only other one, right?
Yeah, and I'm surprised he's gonna keep his job. Doesn't mean that Jerry doesn't change his mind at some point. Maybe they make Kellen Moore the fall guy for what's happened in Dallas. The Buccaneers blew up their offensive coordinator. I thought they should have taken Todd Bowles with them.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They're going to give him another opportunity. So there was, going into the playoffs, I thought there were 2-3 possibilities, right, with the Chargers, Tampa, Dallas, depending what happens. And so far, none of those have turned into openings. And when you have only 5 and you have so many various candidates, I think that's a good thing from a selfish standpoint. If you're an Eagles fan, you want to see a guy like Gannon and Shane Steichen get.
Well, now they don't want Gannon back. They want Steichen back, but they don't want
Gannon.
No. Well, a lot of them. I shouldn't say all of them, but yeah. I mean, that's why Nick went out of his way to defend the guy. It was weird, Rob. He just went out of his way.
Do you think he went out of his way to defend him like that to get him another gig, or to set up for the fact if he's going to stay? Hey, Philadelphia, wake up. We got a great guy here. You should appreciate him. What do you think his major motivation was there?
Jody, you're not saying he went out of his way to say that to get him another gig because he wants him gone.
No. He's just doing the right thing by one of his guys to put him on a silver platter for a team to appreciate and go, hey, how the hell do you not hire him as your head coach?
Oh, that's part of it. That's part of it. It's Nick and what he does in front of the camera, right? And Nick knows how to do that. And I think that's certainly part of it. But he's also telling Philly fans, hey, you got to appreciate what you have. I'll tell you what, we have an Assistant Coach of the Year award. And I won't be giving too much away if I say that I did see Jonathan Gannon's name on come up, at least one vote. So somebody out there, there's at least one. I'm not giving it away. I'm saying he got at least one vote in the top 3 somewhere.
We got that. No Shane votes. No Shane.
I can't talk. I can't say too much. I can't say
all
too
right.
much.
All right.
I just tipped your hand a little bit. Appreciate that.
I gotta be
Yeah. Last one for you, Rob. And John and I had some fun with this on Monday. I asked John when he felt comfortable knowing that the Eagles won the game. And he said, when Brian Dable decided to defer and give the ball to the Eagles. So it was over pretty damn early. When is this game going to be decided on Sunday?
This one's certainly not going to be like
No.
I'd be shocked if either team ran away with this. I think this comes down to a field goal at the end. These are 2 teams that are that closely. They're both right there with each other. Could go either way. I think the home field advantage is huge for the Eagles, especially with Brock Purdy being a rookie. Never faced anything quite like this. This is what it's all about, having that game in the length, trying to make his life miserable, maybe get that one turnover that's going to impact the game, whether it's inside the red zone or whether it's on the opposite side and gives your offense a short field. Robbie Gould, I think, is perfect in his lifetime in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Goals,
boy,
right?
I think he's 40 now, Rob. You know, maybe age finally shows up for Rob. But I wouldn't. Yeah, if it's Robbie Gould to win it, I'm concerned. I'm very concerned if I'm an Eagles fan.
Like, I'm looking at this line at 2.5, and I'm debating taking the Eagles straight up and the Niners to cover because I think it might be a 1-point game.
Ooh, that would be tremendous from an excitement standpoint. And oh, by the way, this week, the matchup between the kickers, Jake Elliott closer than Brett Maher. I'm going to give Jake that much. I'm going to take Jake over Brett Maher this week in the kicking matchup between those 2 teams. That's saying a whole hell of a lot. Maaddi, man, always a pleasure, buddy. Enjoy the rest of your winter/fall/summer today down there in Tampa. MacMan will see you in the press box.
Safe travels up, Rob.
Always a pleasure. Oh, he froze up on us.
Froze up at the very end.
He got the last word in, and That's
We
all
got
he
the
needed.
smiling Rob Maaddi face. We should keep that for
Freeze that
posterity.
and save that.
Yeah.
Exactly right. All right. These two faces are going to take a quick time out, come back, put a bow on the show here on Birds 360.